Here's what's happening. Um, we are guests now at Bayu's product development meeting. And what I thought would be really good today is this. So, Bayu, I'm working on a project right now to develop project management culture here at Bukit Vista. And as well as you can probably appreciate, I think there's a few things that I have seen. Oh my God, it's like this is your masterclass. Now, there's a few things that I've seen you do that I want more people to learn. And I think it revolves around project visualization, milestone measurement, um, coordination, okay, communicating effectively using asynchronous communication, and and also managing time, which I think is super important. Also, in setting like the right KPIs and metrics to measure project progress. So I'll that's a huge body of material, I know, but what I'd like to do is this: we'd like to travel with you today and sort of look at how you break down a project into sizable chunks, and then how you then are able to manage that project with across different numbers of people on your team. So a systematic approach to project management. All right, we're going to observe, and if I could ask, maybe by you, if you could narrate sort of like the thought process behind each of your sort of things that you do within your Trello and how you intentionally want a specific outcome to happen, I think we'll be happy to learn and hear more about that. Okay?
Okay.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. Oh, Tendy's here too. I think also Vidi will be joining too as well. And for everybody else, please take notes on your project management development cards that you have in the leadership development board, so that you guys get some good notes and takeaways on that. Right? All right, let's go ahead and begin. Bayu, take it away. You're our host today.
Okay. So basically, what I do usually is, especially when there's no project yet, we will start with a discussion on what is the problem that we recently see, and then see if that problem is actually related to what we do in product development, especially. So basically, we are always thinking what we can do. Uh, that actually meaningful for others. It's not what we need to do to get some activities, but get something to do to fix a problem basically. So probably let's because I think Fernando is not here yet. I will share my screen and just bring you to the uh, old project that or ongoing project that we are still doing. So, for example, is I think this one is pretty good example. So this one is on this stage being developed. Oh yeah, before that, actually, I for any project that we are doing, what we do is there's a stage what do you call it, an evaluation for that project. So we make sure that it's not a project because I want to do this project, but it's a project because it's worthwhile to do this project. So it's pretty common pattern. It's called I don't know what is called actually. There's some design university that's come up with this pattern. But basically, the design pattern is this one. So we empathize and define the problem. So that's the first thing. That's what we usually do whenever we create a project. That's naturally what we do. But the problem is if we stop here, we don't know what is the actual output of this project. So we need to continue. We can't just stop on empathizing and define a problem. So what is empathizing? Empathizing is basically it's if we want to see it as simple as a question. So it's this two question. Basically, why we need this project and is it worth to solve? So is it worth to solve is pretty subjective at this stage. Basically, if I'm doing this, is there any one benefit from this except me, basically? So if the answer is yes, then good. That at least it's not only for you. The project is not only for you, but for other people to use as well. And there's sometimes there's more than one answer to this, but at least we know whether we continue or not. If if the if the answer to this question is like not sure, so I suggest you just stop this project and not continue to the next step. So the next question is what problem this project will solve. So, for example, oh yeah, this is a real example here. So this is a real project. This is owned by Aldo, I think. This is creating new dashboard on bigger. So we already have a dashboard, basic dashboard, and then we want to make it more advanced, make it more user friendly. We have done all the steps from this empathize, then ideate, and then prototype, and even usability test. And then that's actually everything is good, right? So this is all the answer to the question that I shown you. The problem is that probably there's no one benefit from here at this point from this project at this time. So we ask around. Oh yeah, basically this is also important to have a client. So to have someone who will say that your product or your the result of your project is good or not. That's very important. And unfortunately, we cannot get a client for this functionality or for this project. So we can just go ahead and develop this. We can basically spend a budget to develop this and our time and energy to work on this. And this could be awesome. But the problem is no one will notice this. No one will use this, and then probably it's just that kind of feature that is nice to have, but it's not really meaningful. So what we decide is that we pause this project. We will not continue to further step to development, but because we already spent sometimes designing it and then discussing about this. We just keep it as our portfolio. Basically, we call it unsold product. So this is a product that we already designed, but there's no buyer yet. There's no client. So we stop there because it's not completing all of this cycle here. So that is okay. I think that's the first thing about project that I want you guys to know that a project could be failed, and that's okay actually. If I can actually be proud of my team because we stopped this project. Why? Because we've stopped this project on this stage, not and after this, or not after it being delivered. So there's basically less damage happen because of the project is stopped.
Excellent.
Okay, so that's about starting a project, and then yeah, define a problem, and then the next one is ideate. Ideate is basically creating an idea of what is the possible product that we want to build. So this is something that usually we do first. So I think I have some project with from Jing, I think, about creating video for onboarding new employee. So that is actually one step in the ideate. So we know we want the product, but we don't know what problem we solve, right? So that's sometimes how we get something into something. What do you call it? A project uh, without a goal. You know what I mean. I yeah, like I want to buy a tool, something, right? It's a shiny tool, but then what this tool will solve, I don't know. Maybe we should have it first, and then we will find the problem, right? So that will become if you have a hammer, everything become a nail, right? Something like that. But that's actually not ideal in a project development. So instead of thinking of what the end product looks like, we should go back into the problem first. So if the tool is look shiny and everyone is using, and it look like it can help our problem, that's okay too. But we need to go back not only on the idea stage, but also back into the problem, whether it's worth it to buy, whether it's worth it to to do this project basically. Yes, Jing.
Bayu, could I get you to open up that project template card? Sorry, and show us the questions again that you
Oh
have.
yeah, sure. This
And
one.
yes, yes, sir. And with your permission, I'd like to make sure that this idea sinks in and lead a
Okay.
quick discussion. So
Okay.
let me go over to Rizal real quick. On the mission of leadership, Rizal, what do you see as being sort of what is the purpose of having these questions on, oh, okay. Yeah, what is the purpose of having these questions on this card, Rizal? Thinking about the mission of leadership.
Basically, to align with the mission.
Okay, very good. Let's go next to Ara. Ara, what do you see as the purpose of having these questions? Thinking about the
Um,
mission of leadership.
sorry, sir. I just attend, I think, so I didn't really catch the very first beginning contact.
Okay, let's go next to Andre then. Andre, how do these questions help with the mission of leadership?
The prioritization, sir.
Exactly. So Bayu has actually built in sort of automatic prioritization questions into the Trello card itself so that anybody who starts a project will be automatically prioritizing it as they go through this exercise, which is pretty cool. Bayu, is that the idea behind these questions?
Yes, yes, yes. So I think the problem is before I understand as a project starter, it's always a proud project, right? If I have a project, then I want this project to run and success, right? But then I need someone else to evaluate that my project is good, right? And that takes time, and sometimes there's no one to evaluate our project. So I think it's better if we have a question ourselves, and then I can answer that myself, right? Oh, actually, it's not that good. I know that already, so I don't need to wait until everyone tell me that this is not a worthwhile project.
Hmm, interesting. Okay, all right, very good. Bayu, do you think we should integrate this onto all Trello template cards?
I didn't get the last one.
Do you think we should integrate this checklist on all our Trello template cards so that people can think a little bit more rigorously before and during the phase of the project?
Yeah, sure. You can use that, and you can also modify to the needs, because this is basically for product development, and this question also not it should come from these stages. Basically, it's answering all of these stages. So if you use this all stage to design your project, then you can use the same type of question. Yeah, but it could be different because this is like what is the user need, that very specific to product, but you can modify that.
Got it, got it. There's a subtlety too, if I may, Bayu. I think products are built once and repeated over, and programs are sort of built once and they're repeated over, but they're a little bit more soft, I think. And some things are more kind of like we're building a program like CSC or digitizing check-ins or onboarding programs, right, for new hires. But I think we can approach from a similar thought process. I think this as a self-guided automated way to prioritize is a very powerful idea. Okay, back to Bayu.
Okay. So I think the difference between project and programs is actually could be the same in this stage, but the different could be in this impact measurement. So we want to build a project that is good, right? So that could be finished until this in this case being developed, or finish a finished program, the program that is already we can just run it, right? So the difference between that and product is that the impact is easily measured in product, like a week or a month after that. But program could be like 2 months, 3 months. I think.
Excellent. Oh, Bayu, could you drill down on that? Like, what are you using right now to measure the impact of your projects?
Which one? Oh, this one. Okay. Yeah. So this one is basically we have a client on the community. So this is basically it's not very ideal for this because we don't really control that. This is one of the drawback of we are having a client as a user, because we are building a tool for the client, but we are measuring how the client result, right? So this is pretty difficult to what do you call it, to measure. So our measurement here is because what we are developing is a platform to be used. So it's as simple as if user use this, then it's successful for us. But the problem is you should have another measurement tools on the client. The client should also have their own measurement tool. So
Got it.
it's different. It's different KPI between product and community. It's different KPI for product. If community use it, then we are successful. In community, if community maybe some other KPI, then they will be successful on that.
Excellent. Okay, Bayu, can I stop real quick and let's drive this idea down again? If we
Yeah,
can
sure.
scroll up again, if we can scroll up again to this idea of impact measurement. Let's go next to Tendi. Tendi, wait, Tendi I think hasn't been to the last project management meetup. Let's go to, I think Shinthia went to the last project management sync up. All right, Shinthia, impact measurement. What were we talking about before that sort of relates to what we're seeing right here with impact measurement? Do you remember, like, does that trigger any memories?
Mm, the measurement,
Mhm.
uh, I'm not really sure.
Okay, let's go next to Andre. Andre, does that trigger any memories on your side?
Measurement. I don't know, sir, brother.
Okay, let's go to Tendi. Tendi, based on, let's say, things that we've been talking about in community, does this idea of impact measurement trigger any reminders of things that we've been doing in community and also in HAR?
Think impact of measurement. Mm, I don't know what is your question and then what the
Okay,
answer that you want.
okay. Let's say when you see this impact measurement, does that kind of remind you of a discussion we've had recently about how to manage projects?
Yeah, this is I think about the important and urgent. You know.
No, no, not quite, not quite. Let's go next to Rizal. Rizal, trigger any memories here?
I just remind about from Lily's card. It is no, it's that delegation, sir. But
Okay.
I don't really.
Okay, look, it's okay. Project visualization, right? Yeah. So how do we know we're making progress on a project? We need to be able to measure the impact. Tendi, for you, it was the checklist, right? And also the inquiry visualization. We could see how much of the inquiries were being categorized into each category. I think for Andre and Tendi and everybody working in community, it was the CSC checklist, right? We can see how many people are crossing over. You can see that that part is a very, I think, vital part of project success. If you don't have a way of visualizing your impact, then nobody will really understand if they are if your project is moving forward or not, right? And it becomes opaque and not transparent. The other thing is related to a closed feedback cycle. If you're not really thinking closely about what you're trying to impact, then you have an open feedback cycle. You have an open feedback loop. But now, if you are tracking the impact and it's visualized well, then you have a closed feedback cycle. Then you can then go back to the beginning of the project to fix something so that you can get more impact later. And then that then helps you iterate better on a project. So this, what do you call it, Bayu? It's called impact visualization or impact measurement.
Impact measurement. It's actually built in on the question. So this is what I really like about this method, because this is the question that we have in the beginning, right?
Hmm.
And then we can measure the impact of this product by checking on this question again. So in the beginning, we ask this: why we need this? Is it worth to solve? Because this is never been resolved, right? Is it now? When the because the product is finished, we can just try to answer this question: is this problem actually resolved now? If we can say resolve, okay, that's good. We are achieving that. And then what problem this project will solve? So transparency for partner. So we can prove that, because the partner will see all of the transaction themselves, and nothing that needs a Bukit Vista to send to them again. So that's achieved. And then accuracy for finance reporting, I can say it's not achieved yet, because there's some complaints from partners. And then user validation for usability. So that we can do, because the user, there's a lot of users, so there's a maybe 50-50 answer for that. I will not check that. And then if we see everything from all of this checklist, basically is every question answered, then we can see from here, it's 2 out of 13 question that we finish. So it means it's not 100% impactful, because we can only check 2, right? So that's how I know my project successful or not.
Excellent, excellent. I think that's really awesome. Oh, Andre has a question. Bayu, would you have time?
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
sure. Alright.
So ask the card that you already checked or finished about this okay, to let us know about the the question that already checked.
For this card?
This we should if we want to measure about this, we have to check the question there, right, Mas Bayu?
Yes, 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 yes.
To show us the other card that it's already done or something.
Oh, let me see. I think we don't have any card that's done yet, because this is just implemented.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Next one, Bayu.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you, Buddy. So, yes, for everyone here for the leadership development, this is so important. Being able to visualize and know what the impact is, and then being able to check and progress the milestones along the way. If we don't have any tangible milestones, or if we can't see the milestones because they're hidden away within activity charts or wherever, they're sort of just bubbling around as exhaust, then we never really know if we're approaching our destination or not. Think about yourself as an impatient child on the back of a car during a road trip. Are we there yet? Right? And then as a project manager, I think it is vital to be able to demonstrate, are we there yet, to anybody who comes and takes a look at that. And I think that relates back to Ara. I think we had a discussion the other day about whether or not there was enough time for somebody to actually look at a card and understand what's going on. I think really clear visual communication, you should be able to look at it right away and just get it, right? It's clear. Like, are we there yet? Okay, cool. Back to Mike.
Okay, I think that's in a nutshell, basically, how we manage a project. And yes, so I think like a project update. Let's see. Uh, yeah. Okay. So there's maybe just go here. So on the template, there's uh, on the ideation, we have the implementation idea, right? So this is where we start thinking about other solution. Remember when I mentioned about the tool that we want to build, or the product that we want to build? It belongs here. What is the implementation idea? So this should be the last, and should be at least there are two of them. There are two options of them. Like for example, this is what is this? Okay, so we have this goal of actively sending a notification to on-site staff using dedicated platform. This is still on this empathize and define the problem. and then we I think because we already run a cycle on this on this ideate and then prototype, and then we haven't decided anything yet. So the implementation idea is still not clear. We at in the beginning it's just as simple as we want to make a mobile app for partners, right? But that's just a product. It's not solving a problem. So that's why we are stuck here, because we really want to see what is the problem that user having before we actually develop a mobile app. So probably there's another way to do this. Doesn't have to be a mobile app, but could be a SMS notification, email notification, that kind of thing, right? So this is where we uh, debate our own idea. So this is really good cycle, I think, because most of the time, if we do this or we do design the project only one time, we cannot see our own weaknesses on
Mm.
this idea. Yeah. So
Got it.
so that's I think we have already discussed few times, me and Aldo and Vidi, I think that sometimes we come up with good idea, and then next week we take a look at this idea again, and then we already change our mind. It's like, oh, it's not that good. We need to find something else. So, and that's okay too. A project doesn't need to be perfect from the start. It can be changed along the way. That's
Oh,
and
Bayu,
yeah.
can I stop and drill down again?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, can we open that card up again, showing your implementation?
This one, yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, over to Ara. Ara, what do you see interesting about the way that Bayu and the product development people have designed this particular card differently in a very crucial way than the way that we've done cards in other chapters?
I think the way how they deliver it, like when they articulate what they exactly mean, that's quite different. Also, that they have um, so they have ideas, and then they write it down on how to implement the ideas, and then they have like measurement also.
Mhm.
So that's what difference, I guess, so far from the
Okay.
other.
Very good. There's multiple implementations and there's a ideation of how to get there. Okay, next over to Tendi. What are the differences you see, Tendi, between the way that projects are done in other chapters and the way that they're being done here?
I think it's about keeping the idea. So I think the first idea, you need to dig more about the first idea. Then if that's makes sense, the area in the next time, so you can maybe continue or make another research and setting a KPI or everything. But if you have a look, that's like maybe it's not too important and not urgent. I think you can just change it to be
Excellent.
yeah.
Okay, good. So there's a filtering process for the ideas. Let's go next to Cynthia. Cynthia, what are some differences you've noticed here between the way things are working here and elsewhere?
Yes, sir. The things that I noticed here is because at the very first time we are kind of like doing the brainstorming first, like thinking the idea first. So I think it's not kind of like the other initiative that just made, and then what's the problem that we're gonna solve about this? And yeah, I think this card will bring us clarity what actually the project means, and also what the actually big impact to the other.
Really good, really good. Okay, fantastic. Over to Rizal for one more round.
Yeah, I think it's already set up the checklist, and also the checklist is details. So it's still focused on what we're gonna do, and what the idea that we want to achieve on this particular card. And also I agree with um, apa the using implementation ideas that uh, something sorry sometimes we cannot implement this idea, but it's only the idea is still going around, but sometimes we have to do that to prevent this idea will not working or not.
Okay,
Yeah, I think
excellent.
that's the point.
Very good, very good. Implementation. Does everyone know what that actually means? Implementation. Let's go over to Andre. Andre, when I say implement this, what does that mean?
I think it's about when something is finished, you start to use that and start to maybe testing that first.
Okay, let's go to Ara. Ara, what do you understand about implementation? What does that word mean for you?
Implementation means how to apply the ideas, how to realization the ideas, right?
All right, very good. So Ara's got it. Here's the idea. This is what I really like about this idea, or Bayou's card here, or this system. You don't fall in love with the activity. You fall in love with the problem. Okay? So the problem is always there, the goal is there, but the implementation is diverse. Does that make sense? So there's two ways to solve this problem, right? That they have here. They're trying multiple ways to solve the problem. A lot of projects fail because we fall in love with our solutions, right? We're like, we already started working on this, so that's why it's right, and we love our solution, but we sometimes have not actually address the correct problem anymore with our implementation. What I like about this is that it starts asking the question, have we actually, we should have more freedom in implementation and more loyalty to the problem. So you don't want the opposite. You don't want loyalty to your solution and become free to your problem. And that's a little bit disentangled, right? Maybe eventually, like Bayu said, you solve a problem that doesn't even exist yet because you love your implementation so much. I think we all have been there before. We've all created pet programs, pet projects, and after a while, it starts getting like, why are we doing this? Why are we nurturing it? Well, because we've nurtured it yesterday, and we've nurtured it before. But does it still solve the original problem? It might not. So I think this is really really cool. Bayu, is that what you have it there?
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right. So Ara, I think, told me about this one time. Don't fall in love with the solution. Fall in love with the problem. The problem is where you get paid. If you solve the problem, then people will use your program. If you solve the problem, people will use your project. And who here, Bayu, who told us that?
Uh, the Airbnb guy.
Scott said even if
I
you, yeah, Scott said that even if you have not a good project, not a good program, if it's necessary, people will use it because it's better than doing whatever they were doing before, right? They'll see the impact of it. And that goes back to Andre about moving, Andre and Tendi, about moving the elephant. The elephant will move if there's an uncomfortable position that it's in, and you can create a more comfortable position for it to be in. Right? Okay, cool. Back up to Bite.
Okay, so that's related to this one. So basically, oh yeah, there are two cards here in the prototype stage. Prototype is prototyping is trying basically. It will be used to validate that our idea is makes sense and could be implemented before we actually do that. So here's two examples. So basically, there's this one. This card is called onboard new partner without assistance. Okay, in the old style of doing project for this one, is that uh, we are thinking about changing how we onboard new partner, right? But that's also for me, I think that's a wrong project because that's focusing on changing the flow, right? It's not problem based. So oh yeah, that's why the template here is the goal name. The card is should be the goal name. So it's not supposed to be the project name. So uh, why? Because it's a reminder why we want to do this project. So why we want to do this project? Because we want to onboard new partner without assistance. What we are going to implement, that could be anything. That could be different thing. But that's that's the goal. So, right. So this is the this is how we determine that the prod or the implementation idea that we have actually solved this problem. Okay, so here's what less developed project. So this is less developed and it's not ideal yet. So the project name is case management feature. So that's still a feature. That's not a goal, right? So we don't know what we are going to do with this. Actually, we already know from this question here, but the problem is sometimes we just see this card title, right? This is something to do with project management. Sometimes we forget what the original goal is because it's choose the wrong words or wrong title basically. So if we see here, we always see that, oh yeah, we want to build some case management feature. We want to build case management feature, but we don't see what the problem that we're going to build here. So basically, that also need to be refined here uh, into the actual goal in case that the implementation idea could be changed. We can use Trello, for example, for this one, right? It's possible to have a case management on Trello, right? We don't need to develop and we don't need to spend time and money to develop our own. But yeah, that should be the goal that we are aiming for. Okay, so in this stage on the prototyping, we don't actually know what is the product that we want to build, whether it's inside bigger or on Trello or using a CRM application. So we just go ahead for using what we already have. So what we have is now Trello. So that's why we are moving all the cases into that Trello board, the case management. We want to see if user actually will use this feature if we develop it. If using the existing tools, everyone in the company don't want to record a case anyway, then why should we develop this? So this is prototyping. So we prove that we will get any user, right? Maybe the prototyping on Gojek is first time is whether there will be any Gojek driver that will use this app, right? Maybe that's what they doing in the beginning. If there's no Gojek driver want to use the app to get customer, probably there's no Gojek today. So this is very important to prove that it could be implemented somehow. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Okay.
Yes, Dean.
Okay, perfect. Bayu, could I drill down the idea again?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Next, over to Rizal. What is Rizal, the other word that we use for prototype?
MVP.
Yes, exactly. It's an MVP. Okay, let's go over next to Tendi. Tendi, why is it important to have an MVP?
uh, to test our what's called project, and then before we spread out.
Okay, very good. And let's go next to Cynthia. Cynthia, what part of the structure or the mission of leadership? What specific area of the mission of leadership is prototyping and creating MVPs?
Oh, well, sorry, sorry about that. I don't really know about the leadership mission since I haven't joined the board.
Okay.
So yeah,
But
I
you've
think
heard it before. You've heard it before. Let's go to next to Andre. Andre, what levels of the mission of leadership is prototyping addressing?
I think of executing, sir.
Okay, let's go next to R. All right. What levels of the mission of leadership is prototyping addressing?
For now,
Yes. Or no, in general. In general, when we talk about leadership, right, we talk about the four layers, right? Discovery, prioritization, problem solving, and execution, right? That's the mission of leadership. What levels do you believe are being addressed with prototyping?
I think like as simple as discussion as leadership development is on discovery right now.
Okay,
So
discovery. Okay, good.
uh,
And okay, let's go to Rizal. discovery, and what else are we prioritizing? Or I just gave away the answer. What else are we doing with the prototype?
Prioritizer.
Right. Great. So, what I want to actually emphasize, if I may, Bayu, I think the theme of everything we've seen so far is all about prioritization, right? It's all about prioritizing. It's about like where are we going to spend our resources to do things. And what happens a lot of times is that we're so anxious to do things, we just do it. And then that creates what I've noticed is sunk cost fallacy. Does anybody know this term, sunk cost fallacy? Okay, everyone's kind of like, some cost fallacy is if you've already spent 2 weeks in it, you might as well spend another 2 weeks in it. If you spend, so you just keep on chasing your original idea because it's like you've already committed this much time, so you might as well commit more time. So you might as well commit more time, and that is how I see a lot of projects fail. Essentially, they don't really go back up to ask, is my actually mission being accomplished? Is my goal actually being delivered? Am I actually benefiting anybody from what I'm doing every day? So this is actually something I've noticed across a lot of different people who are quite skilled. We learned this in SEO too, right? Result. Adam Chronister, when he told us when he does SEO, he spends about 80% of his time prioritizing the keywords. He doesn't spend 80% of his time doing websites and doing blogs and whatnot. He figures out what he's going to do first before he does it. I think anybody who's worked in content understands this too as well. Before you go to shoot a property, you kind of already know what pictures you want, right? You've already had it formed in the back of your mind. I need a low angle from this place, low angle. When you shoot, you just go and you shoot, right? You don't like spend all day deciding what to shoot, and even the decision of when to shoot, how to shoot, what equipment to bring, that has all been prioritized before. So if there's one takeaway I'd like everybody to have from this, it's really just understanding the value of prioritization. It is pretty much management, and 80% of it is prioritizing and figuring out what to do. Because there are tons of problems we could work on, many of which have no impact at all, but prioritizing the right ones and being able to invest the correct energy into it, I think is ultimately a good foundation for success. Your thoughts, Buddy?
Yep. That's exactly what we are doing now with a lot of stages before we actually do the project. Actually, so we want to make sure that it makes sense, right? That's the message because uh, if you don't have a good planning, then you kind of cannot continue anyway, right? Or you can continue, but you know that you will fail, right? Yeah. So
Well,
it's better.
oh, I've got a good counterpoint to this, right? It's
All
a,
right.
it's a debate topic. What if you get locked down in planning and you don't actually do anything in the end? Is that maybe when you've gone over too much planning, when you over or sub optimized?
No, it's because the doing is already inside the planning. So that's prototype and usability test. That's why we have MVP. MVP is basically we do nothing. We don't have to do a lot of things. We just do small thing, just prove that this is work, and then if that's proof, and then we add one more step, right? So instead of doing big and then fail, it's fail fast and learn fast, basically.
Okay, very good, very good, interesting. All right, I think we used up almost all your time for your sync up today, but I really wanted to because I looked over your board, and for everyone here, this is the first time I've actually gone over this, but I had been speaking with Bayu about these project management principles, and I thought I was going to like do a masterclass or whatnot, but it was like, yeah, we got Bayu right here, right? He's already like advanced in project management, so that's why I wanted to bring the group here today to also develop these particular ideas: project visualization, project priority, project sort of like thought process and discovery, and being able to sort of bounce and go through this and determine whether or not your project should be done as it's being created. Okay, back to you, Mike.
Okay, so I think the last thing that I want you to remember on if you plan to implement these steps in planning your project is that this step is not linear. It means not just one way, but you can always go back to the previous step at any time. So that's why it's used in agile development most often, because if you're on step two on the ideate, then sometimes you find out that your cause is not good, then you can back to the empathize and define the problem again. And then when it's good, you go again to the idea, and then probably you go to prototype, and then prototype for your first idea or the best idea. And then when you have the MVP or the prototype, it's not good enough. Then you go back to idea again, and then you fix that again, and then go prototype again. Maybe that's not only one time, maybe multiple time. And then you can also after that you go to the actual test or validation, user validation step. And then uh, what you have perfected in prototype, that users will say that, oh no, I would not use that like that, for example. Then you cannot just go continue with that project, because there's no one want to use that. So you need to go back to idea again and then prototype again. So this is like a I don't know what it's called, circular, like not linear. Basically, you can just go back at any time, and that's for me. I think that's called a progress as well. If you step back one step here, I think that's also a progress. It's not just you are stuck and doing nothing, but you go back because you know that you take the wrong step. So that would be uh, that would be the ideal way to use this model.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I guess let's watch how you guys do it in real life then. Now, I'll let you have.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see what the Bayu and Aldo do.
Okay. So basically today, what we are going to do is this is what we usually do. So I will update my project. The most urgent one is the one that being developed, because we already agree on that, and then we are developing it. So just this is currently the slowest part of the stack, because we are developing it. So my update for this one is oh yeah, so this is basically a project that is requested by HR. The client is Nadine. So the goal is that employee can search for any property with specific amenities. That will solve the problem that you have to ask another person, hey, which property that have pool, which property that have uh, this amenities, that kind of thing. So focus on the title here. We don't call it something like property filter or something like that, because that's not what we want to achieve, but we want to achieve this goal. So my update today is that, okay, so there's a setback in development because of technical issue. Basically, we need some library that being used in the code, and then it break everything. So we have a step back that's already delayed for 2 days because of the weekend. And then also I think there's a pending issue as well with this data that VD is working on, the details about a number of bedroom for each unit. So that is the update for now from the development. And all other product that is ready to be developed are in queue here. Nothing already started on develop yet. So this is planned to be started by tomorrow. So that's my update. And then let's see. There's another one from me. Oh yeah, I want to bring this to the product development. This is initially from the internal tools. I have discussed with VD, so I want to bring this to product development. So this will need to import all the questions about that. So this is still in consideration or research stage. I'm doing solo for this one, doing research first before we get anyone to support my project. So I need to make sure that my hypotheses are proven first. Okay, so the next one probably Aldo. Do you have any update, Aldo?
Yeah, I have update from the in consideration or research. It's from the user know what they need to work on the on for the day for the
Mm,
operation. So I did the meeting with my client today.
mm,
So what the Stiawan is the implementation ideas should include the employee list and also assignment day off. So but I told the client that the assignment day off is something more advanced on this feature. So I said to her that this is that they will be the second phase of development. But what I can propose to her is to have this employee list that includes the employee journal on the employee details, and also the clients wants the employee list is like listing details that we have in bigger, and also um, how Excel look like. So when we click on the details, that the information of the employee will be um, given there, and also I already talked with the designer tool VD, and he said that the prototype will be ready on Friday, and also presented to HR
mm.
also by Friday too. That's my update from the H from this card. The next one,
Okay, so Aldo, so this is already approved. Yeah, we have a client. Yeah.
yeah, this is already approved from HR, and the client is Ara.
Okay, so should we discuss the question again? So like this one, right? So we have still some vague idea of the problem that we want to solve. So do you have any more insight from HR about this?
Uh, I don't really get from her that she also agreed that this goal will solve the solution that I attached there.
Hmm. Okay, so I think we need to dig deeper about this one. So basically, the time consumption for checking to do list and also increasing employee work efficiency. How are we going to measure that? So this is the okay. So our key success indicator is still on product or still on user adoption, right? So
Yeah.
time spent, user adoption, and daily visit. Uh, does that is that only that we want to solve or measure?
Uh, for the measurement, that is what I get from my research.
Hmm?
I think I will deep dive more on the client side about this solution that we can give more.
Okay, so let's see. Next one is deeper on problems, yeah,
Yeah.
and KPIs.
Bayu,
Yes.
sorry to cut actually. We had earlier meetings with me and Aldo and PD earlier.
Mhm.
And yes, we're not really this, what is it? We're not really discussing deep about what exactly the client, SME, and HR
Mhm.
details will solve about this one. But I believe it is too simple in the cards right now that if you said that it's just about work efficiency, because it's beyond that I've already stated about what the features need to be attached on this product. So, for example, efficiency in here, like what problem this project will solve? Time consumption for checking to-do list? No, I wouldn't agree. It was just for that because the features that I delivered to Aldo and PD was pretty much quite a lot. And I think if you want to go about the details, you can go to the HR board. There is this, I think this idea has been pending. So you can go to the human resource board. There is this pending section. There's only one card and it's specifically about bigger feature that I've already stated like months ago. So for what exactly the problem will solve within this project, you can go and check from there.
Okay, so that's okay. That's next to Aldo, yeah. So you can go to HR and yeah, that's basically dig deeper on the problems, yeah. Yeah, so that's that. Thank you, Ara. Maybe yeah. So usually we invite also the clients to this discussion just to make sure because this is some initiative that we have in product development, and then I see this project will change a little bit, right? So initially this is to provide a dashboard for
Yes.
everyone, basically each company, and
Mhm.
then when we get a client and then their problem are actually different, so we need to modify on that.
Okay.
Okay, so
Oh,
I'll
wait,
do
real
yeah.
quick. This meeting room will be used in a few minutes. Sorry for the next.
Okay, sure.
So I'm going to keep everyone here. But this was Bayu's meeting, by the way. He agreed to move to this so that we record it. But because of the logistics, it just makes more sense for us to stay. Bayu, Aldo, would you guys be able to continue in the regular product? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we will move the
Okay,
link.
and I'll keep the rest of the team here so we can digest what we've learned today. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Bayu.
you everyone
Thank
for
you. Thank you
joining.
for the project management masterclass.
Okay, see ya.
Okay. See ya. Okay, let's summarize real quickly. So this is part of the journey to get better at project management. Let's just go for quick takeaways. Andre, what's your takeaway?
It's about to manage the. I actually visualized the projects that we did. That's also, but I am also still wondering how can we check which person is working on what, which person is on what. I'm just wondering about that, and also wondering about the pivot, how to do the pivot. Like when I say the implementation side, that maybe we can do two different implementation. That should I think that should be a different. That should be a pivot if we do it.
That's a good idea, actually. Even before the pivot, maybe just discussion about the implementation
Yeah,
before
I
we execute time. Okay, good. Over to Tendi. Tendi, what's your takeaway?
Yeah, I think I do agree with Andre as well. Like the implementation. If I think the goal is the fixing the problem, right? Whatever the way that you choose, actual that the problem is fixed in the long term. I think that's what I take away. And then maybe I just saw something I didn't see in the other chapter as well, the number of the card. So I didn't know on the product development Trello there, because there's like a no card. So I think there's no pivot or something. So yeah, just HR. Sorry, just the who's the client, and then just the what's called the title. So yeah, I think that's that.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Tendi. Let's go next to Ara.
Biggest takeaway from the meetings I can say is that I really like how to implement the ideas, like not just implement the ideas, but how a person deliver what the intention between the project and initiatives. So it is pretty clear that how what is the ideas, how it will be delivered, how we implement the ideas, and then how problems that will it solve. So I think I would say this is like, I don't know, like based on my idea, I might be wrong, but this is more effective. The template of the card is more effective rather than my card in HR board
Oh,
because
wow.
I think it's personally, I don't know, maybe others are not are disagree, but for me, because it has like section rather than having hypothesis, for example, he chose the words of what this project will solve problems if.
More
So
clear than a hypothesis. Yeah.
yeah, because hypothesis sometimes it's contextual, sir. You know, like sometimes the people from HR doesn't know the context. If I said like hypothesis for this card is deep in the talent pool, then HR will like what? But if you're like directly saying that this will solve this problem, so then everybody gets it right away.
Got it. Got it.
So yeah, that's terms I would say this more effective.
Excellent. And once again, the implementation is not as important as the actual problem that it solves. Even for a structure
Yeah.
of a Trello card, if it solves a problem, it's a better card than a problem than having it continue. Okay, next over to Cynthia. Cynthia, to you.
Okay. Yes, sir. Well, for me, actually, the things that I see and observe here at the first time is how long this project will be going. I mean, like the time. I think I can't find any like the period of time.
Mhm.
And also, I think it could be actually the first step before we create an initiative. So, yeah, before we make any initiative and when we have an idea, we could ask ourselves by with that template, what the things problem we could solve from this initiative, and then we after that we uh, enter the initiative.
Excellent. Okay, so something with a time guideline too as well, so we can see what's up ahead. Yeah, that's actually a really good critique because we didn't see actually time or such for each phase of that, and that could be better. But I've also noticed that, like looking at the cards, it was really easy to see where the vision of each particular thing is going to go and how each step builds up to that vision. There's no murkiness around that. Okay, good. Result. Final thoughts.
Yeah, from my set is interesting with Mas Bayu used design thinking, which is drill down on empathize and then define the problem. So before we start the projects, we start finding the hypothesis, we find the problems first, and then uh, try to solve that problem, but in our ourselves first. And maybe that's could be implementing in our current project. And yeah, I also interested to implementing this method to my on project first, and then yeah, we can do MVP, and then we if it is work and work well, we can apply it also on the chapter.
Excellent. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Let me kind of tie this back up. So just like you guys have normal Trello cards for projects, think of your own development as a project, right? Think of like this process where you become more familiar and more capable as a project manager as your own project. As we discussed at the All Hands, I think this is something that we do well here at Bukit Vista, which is building, learning, and development. So track your own progress. I think everyone has their own list right now that I've created, but I shouldn't be creating this. You should be creating this for yourselves. And what I've done is I've just copied a few templates. And Shindia, okay, well, I'll create a list for you, and you can copy and track your own journey in project management. Now, some of these are already done as a template, so you can just piggyback on top of what's worked. There's project management feedback. There's a video log where we record, like right now, and store the videos back so you can kind of trace back. But ultimately, track your own progress in project management here. This supersedes any employee journal or whatever that you're doing. This is better because this can be used later for new employees or whoever. So you're creating essentially your own pathway to learning project management. This goes back to a really original project that Cynthia was doing really back in the old days about, I think, right at Bukit Vista 3 and Bukit Vista 4, about how to develop people according to their own personality and such. Yeah, so she should remember that. And this is probably how we can actually do it. So the past connects to the future now. All right, everybody's invited to this, and please, think of yourself as a project and how you want to actually become more successful and more definite as a project manager. Thank you for joining today, and I wish you guys a great week ahead. Okay? Sure.